Not only we teach you the education, though. I believe that the way you're thinking is very different. One of the pictures that comes to mind right now is, if you ever see one of those big elephants, so you see when people ride horses, they attach this little string to the pole, right? This
Yes.
so that the horse doesn't never leave, right, or the elephant doesn't never leave. And I always thought that little string or that little wooden peg, being your old belief system, right? What is the one that's keeping you from having success in your life? Is it your old belief system? Is it your old mentality? A lot of people have a destructive, toxic financial blueprint, right, that they inherit from their parents. They're like, money is the roots of all evil, right? Money makes, it's for bad people. Money is, and all these myths that are simply not true, right? I grew up with them, and I had to alter the way that I thought about things, the way that I thought about money. And that's exactly what it is that we teach people today. And by the way, we give this education, we teach people about how to do all this stuff. In most cases, it's free.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. You've been doing this for years and doing it so successfully. And it was always shocking to your business-minded friends around you, like myself, who would say, why are you not charging a fortune for this? Because it's so valuable. And nothing hit home to me more than having to deal with my elderly parents who, in their view, if you didn't have one job, one career, work for 40 years and hopefully get a pension and, have a 401k or, have some investments, a few dollars, and then one day, boom, they're completely incapacitated, and we have to figure out how to help them survive for the next 10 years with full-time care. Like, it happens overnight. And if you didn't have anything in place for that, I don't know what people do when you love your family. And so, huge eye opener for me, because even with doing it all exactly right in their minds, right? The same career, pension, all that stuff in place, there still isn't enough money to make sure that they can live out the rest of their lives with the care they need. And that's going to be happening a lot sooner for a lot more people than I can imagine even my mind could even take in. And I'm stepping in as a financial, trustee for my parents now because of that. But it's, this is urgent stuff. And now more than ever, it needs to be paid attention to, don't you think?
I mean, right now, honestly, that's probably the number one most lucrative business in the world. It always has been. It's just now there's more light about it. People are like, how come I don't know any of this stuff? Like, I remember the other day, I was actually out with a friend of mine, and they were actually having a conversation, and she's like, Tim, how come we don't know what to do at times like this with our money? We have so many friends, and it was funny because I had just barely met them, and then it's almost like people have like an epiphany. They're like, how come I'm not prepared for this? Like, if you live in a place where there's something called hurricane season, right?
Right.
Where you're like, there's going to be a hurricane here every year. Like this is right. Like, I was in Puerto Rico like a few months ago, and hurricane season's coming, right? It's like, okay, you already know that this happens all the time, to the point where there's actually a season. So you have to be prepared for this. With what I said earlier, this has happened many times before. So how come you're not prepared for this when you've seen this pattern over, for forever ago? So I think right now, more than ever, people are realizing, they're waking up. They're like, I need financial literacy now more than ever. And that's exactly what I would actually tell you, is the fact that every single person needs to be able to go and have some form of education when it comes to this. And that's what we give people, right? And then from a career perspective, it's an incredible high profession, because right now there's been, for years straight, there's a huge decline on, people that are in the financial services industry, even though the company, even though the market's growing. It's a huge decline of people that are getting involved in this industry because they look at it the same way that you used to before you and I met, right? It's hard, it's complicated, it's regulated, it's all these different things. It's like the devil, like all of our parents always taught us, right? I'm not going to get involved with it. But right now, there's so many things that are cutting edge, that are simple and strategic to be able to go and get involved. I would highly encourage you to go in and learn more.
Well, and that's the thing, when you're saying that, I'm thinking, yeah, so what do we do? And I've had jobs, which has been not that many in my career, but in my businesses, so we don't know, so we don't want to learn, we don't spend the time, we don't know where to go for education. So we give it over to other people through our retirement plans that our employers offer us. And, that's the shocking truth that you opened my eyes to, of how that once had a very important purpose, and it no longer is true any longer. Can you talk about that, how we give over control of our money and our futures that way, and how that can really be working to our detriment?
Well, one of the things that we do is, a lot of us, is procrastinate. Procrastination is the worst nation on earth. Ugh. Most people don't ever get to their goals, or they never get to anything, because of the fact that they simply procrastinate their goals. They procrastinate learning. They procrastinate until it's almost too late. Right now, there's a lot of people that, that know how to eat healthy, but they don't until you go to the doctor and you're like, oh, you have diabetes, right? Like, you should have learned about money, but now you're like, oh, crap, now it's a massive recession. How come I don't know anything? Or how come I'm losing money, bleeding money left and right? What you have to do is you have to game yourself up with financial literacy. Now, the one thing that I would tell you, the reason, like, you're answering your question, is because people simply procrastinate. There's a lot of tools and information that are out there. I understand some people, I told this to somebody the other day, and they're like, well, it's not a lot of as good as the stuff that you're teaching us, Adam, but there's still a lot of information out there that you could go ahead and learn, as far as, like, what to do with your money. People that you can have. People love to teach. People are naturally, I believe, most people are naturally born educators. They love to educate, especially if you're a parent. If you're a parent, you love to educate your kids. Teaching your kids, doing things that you don't even do yourself, but you just love to educate, right? But I would tell you that everybody loves to educate. What you got to do right now is understand and get yourself educated now more than ever.
Well, I think people love to educate who are generous in spirit, right? And that's what you embody and exemplify, is that you're wanting this information to get out. You're making it so accessible. It's free for a lot of it. And, one just has to ask, right? That's the most extraordinary thing. Whereas other people who live in a sense of lack, they want the mystique. They want to think that you have to depend on them to make their financial decision, your financial decisions for you. Yep. And that is not who you are, and that's not what you represent. So I think it's really important to make that distinction, because it's not as common as all that.
I agree.
So, Adam, this has been an extraordinary conversation, and I'm so grateful for you to spend this time with us. It's so comforting to know that there are steps we can take. There's possibilities that we can take advantage of. And I urge everyone to follow Adam's advice and get into massive action. And Adam, do you have any final words for our listeners?
I would encourage you is that you have to take massive, immediate, and perfect action. Listen, don't wait. Most people make the decision of waiting, like I just talked about, until it's too late. What I would encourage you to do is actually, just go out there and learn about it. Become creative. If you don't want to become creative, you want something that's already been done, you can get a hold of us. I'll go ahead and show you guys what are some of the exact same things that we're able to go ahead and do. In fact, if you want, one of the things that we could do, Christine, is for all your listeners, we can go ahead and give everybody a free financial course, right? Whoever's listening to this, I'm going to get a hold of you, or I'm going to get a hold of me, let them know that they listen to this podcast. And what we can do is we can go ahead and actually either have somebody sit down with a professional, or give them, an hour, 2, 3, or whatever long we need to go ahead and do. I'm just a huge believer of education, and that's something that you need to. This is one of those things that you can't get away from. You have to do it. It's like a necessary thing, just like as much as breathing air. You need to know about money. You need to have financial literacy in your personal life.
Well, that's fantastic. What a beautiful gift and a wonderful note to end on. Everybody, please take advantage of this generosity of Adam, and let's get into action. Thank you so much, Adam, for being here today. It was an extraordinary, valuable time we've spent together. I'm so grateful to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Feel free to get a hold of me on social media, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.